clean water. It's our choice and our responsibility. Here in Georgia, we depend on water for the quality of life we all enjoy. But current issues involving water quality and quantity are forcing us to rethink the importance of water and our role in protecting it.
It's critical that we protect our water supply and our water quality.
We have to protect our water.
Water quality is a key issue here in Georgia. There's really nothing that's more important.
Water pollution comes in two forms: point and non-point source pollution. For years, we've done a pretty good job of managing point source pollution, like industrial waste or municipal sewage, pollution that comes from a single location or point. It's easy to identify and measure what's flowing out of the end of a pipe. Under the Clean Water Act of 1972, we've spent billions of dollars to reduce the risk of point source pollution. Today, though, the major threat to water quality comes from non-point source pollution. Things like the water that runs off our carefully manicured yards. How much weed killer and fertilizer end up in the streams that flow through our parks and playgrounds? And what about the oil that drips from our cars onto the pavement of the parking lot? One good rainstorm is all it takes to wash that oil and fertilizer into the lakes and rivers that provide our drinking water. Or sediment from construction sites. What happens when this runoff flows into our creeks and rivers? From litter to lawn fertilizers, from sediment to sewage leaks, these pollutants degrade water quality and endanger wildlife. Preserving the quality of our water requires the cooperation of government, businesses, private organizations, and just as important, each one of us. We all have to pull together to make sure our streams and lakes and rivers are clean. But how can we, as individuals, make a difference? We can start by joining Georgia Adopt a Stream. Operated through the Environmental Protection Division of the State Department of Natural Resources, Georgia Adopt a Stream offers a variety of hands-on activities that let participants learn about and protect local waterways. By adopting a section of a stream, wetland, coastal area, river, or lake, individuals and entire communities can help safeguard their local water resources.
Adopt a Stream is the state volunteer monitoring program.
It was started in 1993 in the Department of Natural Resources in the Water Protection Branch. And it exists to educate citizens about water quality issues and non-point source pollution.
The goals of Georgia Adopt a Stream are to increase public awareness of non-point source pollution and water quality, to provide citizens with tools and training to evaluate and protect their local waterways, to encourage partnerships between citizens and their local governments, and to collect baseline water quality data.
So we have lake monitoring, we have a wetland monitoring program, we have a stream monitoring program, and an estuary monitoring program.
And DNR has an ambient monitoring program that does monitor a lot of the waterways, but they can't get everywhere. And that's where volunteers in the Adopt a Stream program can help fill in some of the gaps.
Adopt a Stream volunteers have many opportunities for involvement. These include watershed assessment, visual surveys, chemical monitoring, biological monitoring, restoration projects, and cleanup projects.
On the most basic level, they can do what we call the Getting Started program, where they adopt a watershed, they register it with the program, they conduct one outreach activity and cleanup, they create their what we call Who's Call list. It's that emergency list of who to call when you find a problem for their local area. And then from there, we ask them to do a watershed assessment, which is pretty much just walking their watershed and just finding out what is going on in it.
At the Getting Started level, volunteers learn about the relationship between land use and water quality, about positive and negative influences on water quality, and about the connection between the physical environment and stream life. Volunteers at this level perform visual surveys of their adopted waterway 4 times a year, assessing both water quality and the physical habitat. They pick up litter, conduct stream walks, stencil storm drains, and conduct one community outreach activity. They also report any problems they observe to the appropriate agencies. The next levels of involvement are chemical and biological monitoring. Chemical monitoring volunteers learn to test for basic chemical parameters like dissolved oxygen and pH levels, and they're taught to identify any chemical changes that can impact aquatic organisms and their habitats.
They can also get involved in the biological monitoring, which involves looking for macroinvertebrates in the stream.
Biological monitoring volunteers are trained to collect and identify macroinvertebrates, since the presence of certain species reflects the overall health of the stream. Data collected by volunteers is used for planning, problem identification, education, and research. In all cases, Adopt-A-Stream volunteers play a vital role in identifying and controlling the effects of non-point source pollution. Other ways volunteers can participate include freshwater and coastal wetlands monitoring, lake monitoring, amphibian monitoring, waterway cleanups, and stream bank stabilization projects. There are many things you can do to help protect our waterways. A variety of maintenance activities include leaving natural buffers of vegetation next to streams, limiting fertilizer and pesticide use to prevent nutrient overloading and to keep toxic substances out of our streams, monitoring septic systems annually and pumping them as needed, practicing water conservation and efficiency both inside and outside the home, and installing silt fences at construction sites. Disposal activities include properly disposing of trash and litter, repairing oil leaks and capturing used oil for proper disposal at an auto parts store, mixing paint or grease with kitty litter and letting it dry, then discarding it with regular household waste instead of dumping it down storm drains, picking up after pets, and properly disposing of dead livestock or game animals.
The benefits of getting involved in the Georgia Adopt-A-Stream program and adopting a stream is that they're making a positive impact, that they're out there, and by adopting the stream, they're already conducting litter cleanup. They're already beginning to educate others about their stream, because one of the emphasis we have in our program is forming partnerships with other organizations, with other individuals, and we want people to share what they're learning about the stream or the body of water with others.
By working in partnership with businesses, public utilities, and local governments, Georgia's Adopt-A-Stream program brings volunteers and community leaders together to focus local resources on local problems. There is simply too much work and too much at stake for anybody to go it alone. Through Georgia Adopt-A-Stream, you can join thousands of other volunteers working to protect our most precious natural resource, one stream at a time. It all starts with you. For more information about water quality issues or pollution prevention, contact Georgia Adopt-A-Stream or the Pollution Prevention Assistance Division.